So this is my first prototype of an Anvil Hardy shear. Just an idea I've had for a while. I'm sick of cutting my rivets with a hacksaw, and so I would like to make a shear to at least hot cut them to make that operation just a bit easier. Initially I wanted to use this welded on handle as a lever, but it just wasn't working. So I decided to hit on it thusly, and I broke the weld. The horizontal bars are made from D2, and this 8mm rod, my rivet stock, fits in thusly, and then tapping it like that will shear off a piece. When working right, it makes a pretty clean cut. It's not perfect, but it's definitely good enough for the purpose of me making rivets. I'm going to have this piece welded on like that and go from there. I need to thank a bunch of guys for their recent donations. They are Vincent Schumann, Corey Backlund, Mike Llewellyn, Brent Lambier, and Anthony Watkins. You guys are a big help. Very generous indeed. Thanks. I visited my welder and had him do his thing. So this could just as easily bust off, but I found that heat treating the D2, the horizontal pieces before welding, to be better than welding before heat treating, which for some reason seems to make the welds brittle. I asked the machinist I use about this tool, and he reckons my first attempt with the handle as a lever that you didn't see, that didn't work because the static side is floating in the air and the mild steel Hardy shank has too much flex. That the static side needs to have a solid base underneath it. So here's my first attempt with the new welded on striking surface. It works, but it could be better. I'll try it now with this temporary support. It seems about the same, but I honestly didn't strike very hard, so maybe better. I'll make a rivet with one of these pieces I just cut off. Then I rivet this tongue together, just to give one of these rivets a go. I finished adjusting the tongue off camera, but the rivet, what I'm mainly focused on, seems to be good. The slight deforming from shearing hasn't affected the quality. Obviously my anvil is unique, with the Hardy hole having a stop at the bottom end, but I'll need to make adjustments to this tool to make it sit flush. After some use, the hole edges are crisp and show no signs of wear. D2 is shock-resistant steel. Okay, so in my simple sketch here is my idea for maybe my finalized Anvil Hardy shear. So many moons ago, way back in the day, I had a shear in the States that was round like this, and it was just two opposing parts. If you look, you can see in the front view here that, you know, one was static and, you know, was secured to a bench, and then the other, you know, had the where you could secure a handle and then pull that down, and it had several holes around it of different diameters, and boy, that really worked really well. I mean, I used it to the point if I probably abused the thing, but I could cut up to 5/8 of an inch or 16mm cold with that tool, and it wasn't very big actually. So, but my idea for this one is, you know, be that heavy duty, but my hope is to cut up to maybe 1/2 inch or about 13 millimeter. So, or at the very least, my rivet stock, which is 8 millimeter. So, you know, I've drawn here a few different holes, but I'm still haven't figured out how I'll work that or how many holes I'll have there. But the thing I was thinking about is that I want it to be handy, that it can be used in an you know, with an anvil or in an anvil hardy hole. So, you know, you'll have a hardy shank depending on your anvil hardy size, and then I have to have some sort of plate on this part to raise it up so that this part can move freely. So the red designates where it might be welded, and then obviously it'll be bolted in the center, and then like I said, they'll rotate you know, not opposing, but one will be static while one will rotate, and then that should you know, give a good cutting action. And here I'll have a solid piece, maybe 3/4 inch diameter, welded on, and then you'll just have to supply a suitable size pipe in order to have enough leverage to work the cutting action. So, and I think that I'm still gonna use this for hot cutting, but maybe see, depending on how this is, you know, how the leverage is, if it could also cut some stuff cold. So we'll see. Another thing is that the main plate will be D2 steel, just like in my prototype here. So, and then the other parts just be mild steel. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't know. You never know until you try. So we'll see. So the more I use this, the more insight I get on how to make improvements. This is 6 millimeter rod that I'll try to cut cold. Not ideal. And now the supporting block with hot 6 millimeter. Very nice. One more go on 8 millimeter with the supporting block in place. And I strike a little bit harder. Very nice. Very acceptable. The holes are still crisp and show no signs of wear. To be continued. Catch you guys next time.